Hey, what's going on, guys? Coming at you with an updated deck profile that has been long overdue, and today I'll be showing you guys my Deskbots. So starting off with the Deskbot monsters, we have the 1001. It's really only useful for the fact that it's a tuner. Also, if you special summon two or more machine type monsters at the same time, whether that be by pendulum summon or soul charge, that's unfortunately not by 004's effect because it activates during the damage step. But if you do it by pendulum summon or soul charge, you can special summon Deskbot 001 from the graveyard to help set you up for some synchro plays. Next we have the 00002. If this is special summon, you can add any Deskbot card from your deck to your hand. That includes the pendulum scales and includes Deskbot base. He's the main one that you also want to machine duplication because you'll get the search off of one of them and then be able to summon out two more and just search for whatever you need. Next we have the 00003. The main one you want to normal summon because when he is normal summon, you can special summon any Deskbot monster from your deck, usually being 002. And then once per turn during either player's turn, you can use this effect to boost one of your Deskbots by 500 attack and defense for each Deskbot card you currently control. So again, it does include the pendulum scales, it includes himself, and also includes Deskbot base. Next we have the 00004. This is your main defensive and setup card for the deck. If this card battles an opponent's monster, once per turn you can dump one of your Deskbot monsters from the deck to the graveyard, and then it gains attack and defense equal to the level of that monster times 500. So it's basically able to beat over just about any monster in the game with that effect. Of course, your opponent takes no damage that turn. And then if it destroys a monster by battle, you can special summon two Deskbot monsters from your graveyard just to be able to set you up for some XZ's plays or synchro plays. Next we have the 00005. Obviously your way to get into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Its effect is, if it's special summoned, you can target any spell and trap card in the field and destroy it. So you can use that to just MST one of your opponent's back rows, or you can even use it to combo off with some of your own plays, like destroying Deskbot base if you need to go for a machine duplication play, or you can destroy, say, your 005 and 006, since they have effects when they're destroyed as a pendulum scale. So if this card in the Pendulum Zone is destroyed, you can target one Deskbot monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So the cool thing is if you have a 5 on field that you special summon and a 5 in scale, you can use 5 to destroy the other 5, and then 5 will special summon something from the graveyard. Next we have the 2006. Little disclaimer here, I would be playing this card at free, but over the last couple locals I've been asking everyone and looking through the bulk commons box for a number 006 and could not find one, unfortunately. Basically what this does, if it's normal or special summon, you can target one monster on the field and change its battle position, so not as good an effect as 005, but if it is destroyed in the pendulum scale and sent to the graveyard, you can basically add a Deskbot card back to your hand. So I just personally like this more than like the 007 and 008, which is why I would personally play free, but as I said, I only own 2, so that's why I'm playing 2 currently. Next we have the 1007. Basically, the only thing this does, it gains 500 attack for each Deskbot card in your graveyard, so it can get kind of high mid-late game. And the monsters your opponent controls can target face-up Deskbot monsters for attacks, except this one. And then if it attacks a defense position monster, it inflicts piercing damage. So it's a nice one. You can occasionally summon, like say off a 003, or just pendulum summon if you need Piercer, which can sometimes help you get game. Next, we have the 2008. I'd probably cut this from 2 to 1, as I said, if I did own a number 006. But what this does is, again, gains 500 attack for each Deskbot card in your graveyard, and then your opponent cannot target other Deskbot cards with card effects except for this one. So here's a neat little combo with 008 and 007 on board, to where 7 can't make them be targeted for attacks, and 8 can't make them be targeted for effects. So it's kind of neat, I suppose. And then this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. So again, one that you can easily get to and summon if the situation calls for it to get multiple attacks with this card, but not one that I really would like to play at multiples if I had the other 006. Then for the final Deskbot monster, we have One Punch Man himself, the 1009. What he does is, during your main phase 1, you can make this card gain attack equal to the combined attack of all Deskbot monsters you currently control except for 009 until the end of your opponent's turn. So you can get really high on its own, and of course if you have 003, you can get insanely high. There's a 2-card combo that I may do a video on later that basically gets him to at least 12,000 attack. And then only this card can attack the turn this effect is activated, and it's basically an Armades, to where if it attacks, your opponent cannot activate any cards or effects until the end of the damage step. But do keep in mind that you can activate your 003 after this card declares an attack, which is probably the best way to go about that combo. So that's it for the Deskbot monsters. Next, we have the 2 Speedroid Menkos. This is basically a nice little machine monster that's kind of like a battle fader, to where your opponent declares a direct attack. You can subtle summon it and then change all their monsters to defense position. It's also nice for being a level 4 that we can use to go into our rank 4 plays, and just in general a nice monster to draw from Max C, which you'll see here in a second. Next, we have the 1 Gen X Ally Birdman. Just a nice wombo combo card. You can return 1 face-up monster you control to the hand to subtle summon this card from the hand. It is a level 3 tuner to help you go into your synchro plays. Probably one of the best plays with it is to bounce one of your scales, or bounce like 003, subtle summon this, and then re-normal summon 003 to get its effect again. So overall, just a really good card. Then for the final monster, we have the free Max C. This deck is very OTK oriented and just needs to get to the cards that it needs for its combos, and Max C really helps get you there while also punishing your opponent for overextending. That's it for the monsters, total of 25. For spells, we have the triple machine duplication, an obvious staple in this deck, even with Deskbot base, which we'll get to here in a second. As I said, your main target for this is 002, but occasionally you like to summon out 003 if you need more attack boosters, or even 005 if you want to go into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Next we have the triple twin twister, because again, we're OTK oriented, we want to blow through back row, and we do have a bunch of ways to keep up on resources and even be able to add resources back with 005 and 006, so the discard effect isn't that bad off of twin twisters. Next we have the 2 Deskbot base and the 1 terraforming. I will say with Deskbot base, if it didn't have the attack boost effect to give your Deskbots 500 attack and defense, it would be an infinitely better card. And the only reason I say that's not a good thing is because it conflicts with machine duplication, which is why I honestly consider not playing the card altogether. But the fact that it has the Cosmotown effect where you can shuffle Deskbot cards from your hand to the deck and then draw that many cards is just too good. Helps keep consistency up in the deck. And of course I do have the 1 terraforming to search it, and also since I just don't want to play a 3rd Deskbot base and clog with multiples. Then for one of the spells, you have the 1 limiter removal. Can occasionally just help you get an OTK when you really didn't have it on board, or even just push for an insanely hilarious amount of damage, like go from like 10,000 to like 20,000 damage with limiter removal. So it's just kind of a sacky card. Then we have the 1 Raigeki for clearing boards, which can help us OTK. And then finally the 1 Upstart Goblin for consistency. And then we do play a small trap lineup. It's just a Solemn Trio of the 2 Solemn Strike and the 1 Solemn Warning. Just basically to have some negation for summons and effects to keep us alive long enough to OTK our opponent. So that's it for a main deck, total of 40 cards. Again, it's 25 monsters, 12 spells, and 3 traps. Now on to the extra deck. So starting off with the synchros. First off, we have the 1 Herald of the Arc Light. There's a level 4 which you can go into with 001 and 003. Just really nice for the fact that it can just negate just about anything by being able to tribute itself. And then any card sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead, which is pretty good against some matchups. So yeah, just in general a nice monster, especially if you can go into it first turn to kind of hinder your opponent's plays. Next we have the 1 Naturia Beast and the 1 Naturia Barkion. Beast more or less is the one you're going to go into, especially against the Monarch matchup and Pendulums. You can go into it with 001 and 004. And then Barkion, you can go into it if you're going against a trap-heavy matchup like the Demise decks or like, say Burning Abyss, just to get over all the traps. Next to the 1 Benefice Horus, you get 2 out of its 3 effects with when you synchro into him, because of course you're going to use either, well, that is if you use Deskbot 001 and 005, because it's a effect when you use an effect monster to synchro him is that you can target a face-up card in the field, negate that target's effects. And then if you use a pendulum monster like 005, your opponent chooses 1 monster they control and gives it to you, but it cannot attack this turn. So it can just be a nice wombo combo card. Take one of your opponent's monsters and use it for an XZs or synchro play potentially. Then for 7s, we have the 1 Black Rose and the 1 Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. Black Rose obviously for clearing boards, especially if we have cards in hand to be able to combo off after that. And the 1 Meteor Burst because it just stops the opponent from using monster effects in the battle phase, which is pretty good against Burning Abyss and also Cosmos as well. Then also we can use its effect to subtle summon one of our Pendulum Scales as well. Then for 8s, we have the 1 Ignister and the 1 Stardust. Ignister only takes the 1 tuner and the 1 Pendulum monster, or 1 non-tuner Pendulum monster, so we can use 1 and 7, or we can use Gen X Ally Birdman and 005 to summon him. Then of course Ignister just in general is a really good card. Then we have the 1 Stardust. This could really be any other level 8 if you so choose, like a Scrap Dragon, Cypher Lord Omega if you have the money for it. Unfortunately, we can't really make Crystal Wayne, but I just chose the 1 Stardust because it's a nice protection card from any kind of destruction. Then we have the 1 Mistworm, which would obviously be Trishula if I own one, but couldn't really get my hands on one. I didn't really feel like paying the $40 or so to get the ulti at the shop, so Mistworm's just kind of a placeholder. A decent one to go into. You do have the ability to go into like Trishula or Mistworm in this deck with like a 1 and 2 4s, 1, a 5, and a 3, or even with Gen X Ali Birdman, like with a 3, 2, and 4, or a 3, 3, and 3. Then for the final synchro, we have the 1 Deskbot Jet, which is a level 10. The main effect you want to use with him is that you can distribute it to, what is it? Target 1. Yeah, you can target 1 Deskbot card you control, destroy, and if you do, special summon 1 Deskbot monster from your deck. So you can use it to destroy itself, use it to destroy one of your scales, use it to destroy your Deskbot base, and then just special summon a Deskbot, any Deskbot you want from the deck. So it can be a nice little combo card if you have the ability to go into a level 10 synchro. Then for rank 4s, we have Geargigon X, since we're playing all machines, the 1 Abyss Dweller, and the 1 Castel. And then, to round out the extra deck, we have the combo of Nova and Infinity, since we have the ability to go into this with Deskbot 005. So that's it for the extra deck. Now to wrap it up with the side deck. Starting off, we had a 2-effect Veiler, good for the Monarch matchup, good for the Pendulum matchup, and just a good card to draw off of Max C. Next, we had the 2 System Down for the Cosmo matchup, 2 Chaos Trap Hole for the Monarch matchup, and also for the Burning Abyss matchup. 2 Magic Deflector for the Monarch matchup, also protects our scales from Twin Twister. The Triple Basket Restrict, again for the Monarch matchup, also if we run into a Rogue Magic Spectre matchup. The Triple Rivalry of Warlord, since our whole deck is Machine, and this is just one of, if not the best Floodgate right now in the game. And then for the final side card, we have the 1 Soul Drain, since it only conflicts with our 001, which we rarely ever get off, and can just be really good against Burning Abyss and Cosmo. So that is it for this updated deck profile for Deskbots. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And really quick, just wanted to give a thank you to Jack Paul from Galaxy Games for setting me up with a nice deal for the Cyber Dragon Infinity for the deck profile. And I'll catch you guys next time.